we have the command line arguments topic. So in this command line arguments, the main function have the two types of arguments. The first one is argc, nothing but argument counter, and next one is rv, that is the argument vector. So these are the two types of arguments, and it is in the main function. Next, let's discuss argc. So nothing but argument counter. This argc, it is used to count a number of arguments that are placed from a command line to a main function. So to the main function, how many number of arguments the user is passing, so that count will be printed by the argument c. So we use this argument c to count the number of arguments. And then syntax for this is int argc. So this is the syntax for the argc. Next, argv, nothing but argument vector. So this is used to store arguments which are passed from command line to a main function. So whatever the arguments we are passing from the command line to the main function, those arguments will be stored by the argv. So it is used to store arguments which are passed from command line to a main function. This is nothing but the argument vector. So syntax for is character and the asterisk, argv, and this is a pointer. So this argv, you are declaring it as the pointer and with the data type char. So this is the array brackets. So in this array brackets, we can also take index, we can use it by the for loop, or just we can take the number inside this array brackets. So for example, argv of 0. So in argv of 0, it stores path of the file name. So it is taken by the default for whatever the compiler we are using, that path of that compiler or the path of the file name will be stored in this argv of 0. So whenever I want to print the argv of 0, at the time the path of that file name will be printed. And next, argv of 1. So it stores the first argument. So user give many arguments from the command line to the main functions. So that whatever the first argument is given by the user, that will be stored in the argv of 1. Next, second argument which is given by the user will be stored in the argv of 2. And so on. If a program has n arguments, then that n will be stored in the argv of n. So argc we will use to count the number of arguments which are passed from the command line to the main function, and argument vector argv we will use to store the arguments which are passed from the command line to the main function. So this is about the two types of arguments. Let's see the program to implement the command line arguments. So write a C program to implement command lines and the arguments. So first, before this, I have to include the header file. After this, it starts with the main function. In the main function, I am giving the arguments here. So the syntax for the argc is int argc, and the syntax for the argument v, the argument vector, that is argv is character and the pointer of argv and the curly brace, square braces. These are the array brackets. Now the block of code starts. First clear screen, then after printf number of arguments are %d and the \n argc. So argc is a variable I am declaring as the integer. So we know that argc we use to count the number of arguments which we are passing from the command line to the main function. So that number of arguments are %d. So it will be printed here. Next, printf path of the file is. So we know that argv of 0, this will be it is default. By the default, the compiler will be printed the path of the file. So first argument argv of 0 is already taken by the path of the file. That path of the file will be in the string form. So it is a collection of characters. That's why I am using the %s. And printf first argument is %s. So whatever the arguments we are giving, that can be in the form of either characters or the integers or the float or whatever it might be. It can also be the string. So string is a collection of characters. So for the string we use the format specification as %s. So already the first argv of 0 is taken by the path of the file. Next, first argument is. So some arguments will also the user will pass. So that first argument will be stored in this arg v of 1. So first argument is percentile s and then backslash n. Second argument is percentile s. So that is stored in the arg v of 2. Next arg v of 3. So it depends on the user how many the arguments has to be printed. Then after get ch and the return 0. So we have the sum of the steps here. In the Turbo C++, first we have to compile the program. When we compile, we use the command as Alt F9. So this is the command we are using, Alt F9. So if we get 0 errors and 0 warnings, then we can run the program. Next step 2 is click on run. We have to run it. Then we have to click on the arguments. So some arguments we will give. For example, I am passing it as hello, world, welcome. So 3 arguments I am passing here. Then click on OK. Then control F9. So control F9. Then after in the output number of arguments are 4. So the arguments are 4 because we are giving only the 3 arguments and that one more argument is already taken by the path of the file. So by counting that path of the file and these 3 arguments, it becomes totally 4 arguments. So therefore the number of arguments are 4. So by default the compiler takes the path of the file as the 0 argument, nothing but argv of 0. That first argument is taken by the path of the file. Now when I want to print here path of the file, so argv of 0, so that path will be printed here. Next, first argument is, so first argument is hello. The hello I gave the argument hello, then space I give world and then welcome, hello world welcome. So the second argument is world, so this will be printed and this will be stored in the argv of 1. This will be printed in this will be stored in argv of 2. And the next third argument is welcome, so this will be stored in argv of 3. So third argument is welcome. So this is a way of this is a C program to implement the command lines and the arguments. So this is also important one. And here we have to just remember these steps when we are executing a program. First we have to compile it, then we have to run it. If there are no errors, then only we can run the program. If there are errors, just we have to rectify the errors, then again we have to run the program. So this is about the command line arguments.